Good morning and adab to everybody. I think 3 years ago, many of you will remember that we met in the same hall and a tribunal was held. The tribunal was again on the same issue of UAPA, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, and we heard many depositions on that day from friends, from relatives of those who were incarcerated or those who had been out on bail, or some of them had been acquitted. But I think the acquittal cases were far less that day. And I'm very happy to know that Yaya is here today because we did discuss the Hubli conspiracy case in that tribunal. But that tribunal had a very different, motivation and idea behind it, which was to document cases which all of us in our wisdom thought were false cases, and to document the ways in which the state wrongfully or incarcerates people, or the way in which the cases were being framed against either activists or against specific communities which were marked out as suspect communities. But today's tribunal, which is the second tribunal of the Innocence Network, is looking specifically at cases where people have been acquitted, where people were first accused of being terrorists or operatives of terror organizations, and then tried for many years, as they spent many years in the jail as under trials, and then they were acquitted. Now, the first response when people are acquitted is that justice has triumphed, law has prevailed, that there is delay, but certainly there is justice in our legal system, that people have been, their names have been cleared. But really, the question that many of us asked was that, is this justice when people are acquitted after spending years in jail, after being stigmatized, their families being stigmatized, their businesses being lost, their family, the family lives being destroyed? What sort of justice is this when people are acquitted? Are we to celebrate these justices? And in fact, there has been a lot of documentation work earlier on TADA and POTA, and now increasingly also on UAPF. Our own organization, JTSA, has been documenting many cases of UAP across the country, where the way in which the law is used is quite clear. But the point that we were all worried about in the Innocence Network was the absolute failure of the institutions to respond to this. We saw it as a crisis of institutions, as also a moral crisis, because these arrests are always made in our name, that to make us safer. So how do we as society respond to these brazen cases of injustice, years of incarceration? And how can we make the state more accountable, in these matters? Now, as many of you might know, that India is a signatory to ICCPR, wherein there is a very clear, in one of its Article 14.6, there is a clear guideline that those who are wrongfully prosecuted and incarcerated should be compensated by the states. Now, India has always been very wary of, it's always said that, we do not agree with this clause and that there is no law of compensation in India. However, even in the absence of this, other countries who have signed on ICCPR have incorporated this into their legislative and legal framework. Australia, UK, France, Germany, etc., Canada, all these liberal democracies have introduced very specific laws about compensation when it comes to wrongful prosecution. India has been woefully far behind on this count, as it has been on the law on torture. However, even in the absence of these laws, interpreting the wide meaning given to Article 21 by Supreme Court in judgment after judgment, is there a way to think about compensation even in the absence of this legislative framework? Can the courts do something? Can there be a proactive approach of the judiciary on this? So what we are going to be discussing today is, after there will be depositions, and the depositions will indict every institution. Despite there will be an indictment of the police, the agencies, there will be an indictment of the prosecutors who are supposed to be officers of law and not just be rubber stamps of the police. There will be also, I'm afraid, an indictment of the courts in one sense, because in many cases you will see, despite the fact that there was ample evidence that the police had actually cooked up a false case, the courts are very wary of saying so. The courts become very timid and finally say that, we are acquitting these people for lack of evidence, whereas there is ample evidence on display that this was a frame-up, a malicious cooked up case by the police. So in that absence, in the absence of those strictures passed by the court against police and prosecution, what choices do these who've been acquitted from courts have? You might be aware that in the Akshardham case, where many people were, 3 people were sentenced to death by the Pota court, and then the death sentence was confirmed by the High Court. In the Supreme Court, the case was overturned and everybody was acquitted. Not simply life terms commuted, but absolute acquittal. And very serious aspersions were cast against the police and also the High Court and the Pota court. And even so, even in that case where the Supreme Court overturned the judgment and clearly said that this is a false frame-up, that this is a malicious investigation and prosecution, when the same set of people approached the Supreme Court for compensation, nothing came out of it. The petition was asked to be withdrawn because, according to the Supreme Court, they didn't want to open the floodgates. So, what we are looking at is an absolute institutional failure and crisis at all levels. But the task of the tribunal is to recommend some way out of this crisis and failure. Is there a possibility within the framework to seek some redress from the system in these cases, and also to suggest some ways forward about what we as community can do? So the today's tribunal will be first the depositions, those who've been acquitted by courts after a long struggle to prove their innocence. They will be deposing. The cases, they will, and some of these are very prominent cases from across the country, Malegaon, Makkah Masjid, and the tiffin bomb case and so on, and the false frame-up. Irshad has, of course, just been clear. His name has just been cleared recently, as has been in the Ahmedabad tiffin bomb case. You might have heard recently that, the case of Rafiq Shah, who was acquitted after 12 years in jail, who was a student in Kashmir University and who was acquitted. So we will be looking at these depositions, and then we hope that, the observations and the recommendations of the jury will be pronounced after the panel discussion that follows the depositions. So please stay for the program throughout. Listen to these depositions. These are very moving and tragic stories. But we don't want to wallow in tragedy alone. We want to move forward and look at some of the ways that where justice can be sought. So that is the idea behind the People's Tribunal. And I welcome you all to this People's Tribunal, and Fawaz will now carry on the proceedings. Thank you.